dear learners. Welcome to this session. In this session, I am going to discuss about electrical safety measures. Learners, I am Dr. Rakhi Sharma from School of Engineering and Technology, Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. First of all, we will know what are the learning objectives of this session. So after going through this session, we will be able to discuss about periodic checkups of some main equipment to avoid electric hazards. Then you will be able to describe the personal safety and preventive measures. And after going through this session, you will know about the special safety equipment, important considerations in its selection of for the personal safety, and according to the nature of activity and degree of hazard involved. Now the protective tools and electrical safety, we will discuss about this also. So many accidents result from improper use of tools or use of defective tools and equipment. So employees should use only those tools which are in the good condition and only for their intended purpose, right tool for a right job. So hotline tools required special care. Hotline means a line which is charged. So the tool requires special care, and proper containers and dry storage should be provided for them. Suppose rubber protective equipment, it should be stored away from the sunlight and in the cool places. Rubber gloves should never be worn without covers and never worn turned inside out. Then goggles or other suitable eye protection should always be worn, and when there is danger of exposure to caustic substances, even the harmful light rays or any condition considered to be hazard to the eye, then the radar should be inspected at regular intervals and maintained to conform to safety measures, because these are used during the maintenance purpose. So you have to take care that these should be inspected. And portable metal and wire reinforced ladders should not be used unless specifically authorized. That means specifically authorized by the by some person. Then wooden ladders should not be coated with metallic paint, nor should paint be used which hides the grains. One more thing about the ladder is that the base of the ladder should not be placed less than 1/4 of its length from the wall or supporting surface, and not further away than 1/3 of its length unless securely tied in position. Then if you are using the step ladder, it should be fully open when it is in use, and ladders placed near doorways or in pathways should be protected against being struck by doors or traffic. So some care has to be taken while working with some hot lines or energized wire, and linemen should not wear spur or any other metallic ornament or device not required for immediate use, unnecessary devices, when working on ladder, except where necessary on hooked ladders suspended from wood pole structures. There are standard practices and specifications which provide guidance on protective devices. Now let us discuss about grounding. So grounding is a very important requirement for protection and safety in electrical system, and it may be in residential, industrial, or in a power system. So anywhere this grounding is required. So this is accomplished by connecting up properly sized grounding electrode system designed for high current and low resistance earthing. We have discussed all the earthing and grounding process in detail in our previous sessions. So let us now discuss fundamental purpose for the grounding and electrical system. So why do we use to limit excessive voltage from lightning, line surges, etc. This may be in the extraordinary conditions. So to keep the conductor enclosures and non-current carrying metal part enclosures and equipment at zero potential to ground, because any discharge or any leaking of current will be dangerous. To facilitate the opening of overcurrent protection devices in case of insulation failure. What we want, suppose there is an insulation failure, then we want that there is the current, suppose the place where non-current carrying metal is there, the enclosure is there, and because of some conductor the failure in the insulation over the conductor, then current may leak to that enclosure. So in that case, what we want the protection devices. So this grounding may facilitate the opening of overcurrent protection devices. Failure of insulation may happen for various reasons, like moisture ingress to insulation, then mechanical damage, electrical aging, or insect eating the insulation. This may also happen. Then softening of insulation due to heat or chemical reaction. So there are various reasons which may cause the failure of insulation. So equipment grounding consists of interconnected networks of equipment and are used to perform various functions, like limit the hazard to personnel, that is shock voltage. So from the usually non-current carrying metal part of equipment and other conductor enclosures in case of ground fault, and safely conduct ground fault current for the fast operation of a circuit, overcurrent protection devices, fast operation of overcurrent protection devices. So for this purpose we need grounding. Then working space around electrical enclosures or equipment shall be adequate for conducting all anticipated maintenance and operations safely, including sufficient workers rescuing for injured personnel. The spacing shall provide the dimensional clearance for personal access to equipment likely to require examination or maintenance. Such equipment includes panel boards, switches, circuit breakers, switch gears, etc. So these working clearances are not required of the equipment, and that is not likely to require sufficient access, but working space is still required. Sufficient illumination also need to be provided around the working space, and necessary protective equipment and gadgets should be available, or it should be used, like rubber insulated gloves, then safety clothes, etc. The protective tools and gadgets should be properly stored when not in use. The qualified workers should be trained in safety related practices and safety procedures prior to their handling of equipment. Then protective grounding should be used on the circuit of 600 volt or even above, that means in case of the high voltage circuits, or even in the case of the lesser voltage where residual charges are likely to accumulate, to provide protection to operating personnel and to prevent any electric shock. And proper consideration has to be given for touch and step potential also, which we have discussed in case of the earthing. Now let us discuss about the electrical hazards associated with equipment, and these are mostly due to defective wiring, which causes short circuit or ground. You know very well this thing. Or poor installation, misuse, overloading, aging, and attack by the foreign substances that cause the insulation failure, and which results and with the result that we have either electrical fires or cases of electrocution, resulting in death or permanent disabilities. So these are some electrical hazards which are associated with the equipment, and mostly due to these reasons. So unless switches and the other control gear are of suitable design, they are likely to cause above stated hazards. So these days, with oil immersed switches and circuit breakers, if the handle and the container is not efficiently sealed, the hazard of fire is always there around such switchgear. So there is always a possibility of some hazardous areas in the workplace where atmosphere may have a danger of explosion, where there are extensive vibrations. The periodic and efficient checks for equipment safety in order to avoid electrical hazards. What are these? Suppose we are taking the case of main board, then checkups to avoid electrical hazards. What are these? The fuses should always be of the prescribed rating. They should never be bridged so as to bypass the fuse functionally. The board should be suitable grouted so as not to work loose from its bearings. Then iron-clad equipment such as the main switch, section isolators and junction boxes should be in perfect condition. So these need to be checked to avoid any electrical hazards. Then the checks which are required for electrical installations to avoid electrical hazards. What are these? So electrical installation should be suitably designed so as to safely carry the electric load without leading to overheating within the installation. So in every installation, a provision for future extensions should always be made so as to avoid overloading the existing circuitry. Whenever additions do take place, then electric wires and other accessories should never be allowed to be wet or damp. And then normally the electrical wiring should always be overhead. Mostly it is advisable that it should be overhead. In case under the force of circumstances it is a lower level, then care should be taken not to splash it with corrosive solutions, oil or grease during the any work at the workplace. Then broken fittings and enclosures should be immediately repaired and it should be replaced. The replacing of these broken fittings is required for the electrical safety. Then different section of electrical installation should be constantly checked, and whichever circuit is getting overheated, it should immediately be attended to. Either overload should be removed or conductor side should be increased so that it can accommodate the current, but it is generally preferred that overload should be removed. We should be very particular about providing protective bushings whenever open wires enter a switch box. Then drop cords of pendant light points should be regularly checked in case of the electrical installations. Now what are the checks to avoid the electrical hazard in case of the electric motor? So all the equipment should be preferably grounded with a double earth line, and these should never be overloaded. The circuit should not be frequently started and stopped as a plaything. That means we should not play with these electric motor. Then ventilating ducts for cooling of such motors or other equipment, it should be kept clean and open. The equipment should not be roughly handled so as to cause mechanical damage to the winding. Then motor alignment should be perfect. In case of a commutated type motor, the brush area should be perfectly enclosed to avoid it being damaged, which is likely to be the cause of sparking. Because so each motor should be protected with a fuse. Every motor must have a efficient overload and no volt release. Now let us discuss the various checkup to avoid electrical hazard in case of the lamps and switches. What are these? All terminal connections should be tight to avoid arcing. Then there should be no loose parts in a switch, otherwise a short circuit may cause. The lamp holders and the switches should never be allowed to get wet and damp. Then switches should never be placed in vibration prone areas to avoid mechanical damage and loosening of its part. Every portable lamp should be fitted with a wire guard, and the portable cord should be armored against mechanical damage and consequential electrical hazard. In explosive atmosphere, if tube light are being used, their ballast should be frequently checked. So failure to provide appropriate safeguards against above stated electrical hazards can prove very risky. So let us now discuss about the electrical equipment, personal safety and preventive measures. So you know that accidents do not happen, they are caused. It is very essential to use proper safeguards and the safety equipment for the personal safety, and it is necessary to take any preventive measures. So first of all, we discuss about the head protection. So head protection may be hard hats and caps made of aluminium, PVC fiberglass, laminated plastic or vulcanized fiber. So they may be filled with bracket for fixing welding mask, then protective face screen or a lamp, so as per the work requirement. Then the head and caps are provided with replaceable harness and lining, which provide sufficient clearance between the top of the head and the head shell. Then soft caps and hoods are also used for protection against heat, spark and other dangerous materials, and are made of appropriate material. Sometimes hoods are made with rigid frame which holds it away from the head. So it all depends upon in what kind of working conditions are there. Accordingly, you have to use for the protection of your head, you have to use these equipment. Then we will know about the eye and face protection, the safety associated with this. So dust, flying particles and harmful radiations in the work area, it may cause numerous eye injuries. While it is difficult to list precisely the various processes in which the worker may be required to wear goggles, the hazards encountered may be stated in here as under given in the table. Various reasons for eye injury has been mentioned, and what are the related processes. So some example of the related process which will help you to know about the reason of the eye injury. Suppose relatively large flying object, it may enter in eye and may cause injury. So this may happen in the process of the chipping, then felting, riveting, caulking. Caulking means sealing gaps with caulks, etc. In that case, there may be some flying object. Then dust and small flying object may also enter to the eye and may cause injury. So for this, this various process in like the sealing, then grinding, stone dressing, or woodworking in the work area. So for this may cause the dust and a small flying object may cause the eye injury. So it is very necessary to know about what are the various processes which are required to know someone to protect himself or herself from the eye injury at work area. So then splashing of metals, it may also be there. So various related processes are the babbiting. What is this? This is lining a surface with babbit metal. So there is possibility of splashing of metal, so which need to be avoided, or that means it may cause the eye injury. So then there may be some process like pouring of lead joints, then casting of metals, then galvanizing and dipping in molten metals. So there may be this kind of process which may cause splashing of metals and this may enter into the eye and cause injury. Then splashing of liquids or gases and fumes in the various processes like the handling of acids and other chemicals, it may also cause eye injury. Then other reason of the eye injury is the reflected light, glare and radiant energy. It may be in the related process like the foundry work, glass furnaces, welding and cutting arc welding. So such kind of work may require in the work site, which may cause eye injury. So eye protectors may be safety spectacles, mono goggles, impact goggles, welding goggles, the foundry goggles, the gas tight goggles, the face shield, the welding helmets, etc. So these all are required. At least you should know that what kind of protectors are there, and these are the various processes which may cause this kind of injury. So that means the safety is the utmost required thing. Then hand and arm protection. What to do for this? So protection of the hands and arm becomes necessary when workers have to handle materials having a sharp edge, or when hot and molten metal, chemicals and corrosive substances have to be handled. Then the protective devices may be like gloves, then wrist gloves, then mittens, then hand pads, thumb and finger guards and sleeves. It may be used for the hand and arm protection. So it is important not only that the various parts of arms and hand are adequately covered, but they should be covered by a material suitable for withstanding the specific hazard involved. Now let us discuss about the foot and leg protection. So adequate foot protection may have to be provided to workers employed in certain jobs. Like risk of injury may be in handling of heavy material, then caustic and corrosive liquids, then wet conditions, then molten metals may be handled, then tripping over, etc. So in that cases, in such conditions, it is very essential the foot and leg to be protected. Then common foot and leg protective devices are safety shoes and boots, leggings, then foot guards and leg guards. Shoes and boots may be provided with steel toe box and inner steel sole, and there may be ankle, calf or hip high as per situation. Leg protective may be made of leather, then asbestos, neoprene, then natural rubber, synthetic rubber, etc. These leg protectors may be in the form of legging, which may be knee high or They may be specs covering lower skin, ankle, and insteps. So they may be held in position to straps or spring clip or snap fasteners. So for keeping them in position, these spring straps and clips or fasteners may be used. Now let us discuss about the body protection. There may be any work condition. The protection of body is necessary. So sometimes it becomes necessary to provide special protective equipment for the body in the form of apron, and jackets, overalls, and complete head to toe protective suits. So nature of potential hazards, or the nature of that hazard or degree of the hazard involved, and the nature of activities of the person concerned are important consideration in the selection of safety clothing. Though complete coverage of the body and legs may not be needed in some cases, and unnecessary safety clothing may hamper the efficiency of the worker, but no compromise should be made with the situation specific mandatory safety requirements. If requirement for a worker is complete coverage, he should have it. You can see here the various safety equipment. Now let us see this table. Here the part of body to be protected, then what kind of equipment we can use for that, and equipment protects against what. So these we will discuss here. So for protection of the head, you can use fiber helmets. So because it protects against the falling objects, hitting against and object during handling, then reaction or recoil, etc. Then to protect head, you can use electrical resistance helmet also, in case because it protects against a shock when the working with the electrical lines. In that case, special equipment like electrical resistance helmets are used. Then crash helmet are there. These protect against for riding on high speed vehicle, to avoid scalp injury, also to avoid injury due to unintentional fall. Now how to protect face. For protecting the face, we may use plastic face shield. It protects against liquid chemical splashing, then striking of dust particle or grinding waste which may be in the work site. Then for this, that means we have to protect the face using some face shield. Then welding helmet and shield in case of the protection required against welding fumes, sparks, intense light and ultraviolet rays during the arc welding at the work site. Then asbestos hood are required to protect the face. It protect against the radiation in and around furnace and other open heat source. Then protection of eye. So for this, one has to use panorama goggles with a clear plastic visor. It protects against the oil and paint splashes, dust and chippings at the work site. Then to protect our eye during the work conditions, when there are foreign objects or foreign bodies entering the eyes, and against the smoke and fumes, in that case the leather mask goggles is to be used. Then the spectacle type goggle with plain shatterproof lens to protect the eye from foreign bodies entering the eye when working on machine and reflected arc rays. In that case, spectacles type goggles with plain shatterproof lens should be used. Now, how to protect ear? So for this, the ear plugs and ear muffs are used because they protect from the high noise level. In case of for the protection of nose, then equipment required are dust respirator, light fume mask, heavy fume mask, then canister gas mask. So all these protective these equipment are used to protect our nose because it protects against the dust and powder particles entering the lungs. Then light fume masks in the case of the dust respirator because it protects from this dust, as its name implies, and other particles which may enter into the lungs. Then light fume mask, it protects against the acid fumes and other corrosive vapor. Similarly, the heavy fume masks are used if the danger is more. Then canister gas masks are used to protect against the acid fumes and vapor and gases if they are more in case of in the work environment. Now, protection of body. For this, the various equipment which are the special kind of equipment which are required, that are leather apron. It protects against the falling of hot chips, slag, then some heat radiations. Then asbestos apron are required because it protects against heat radiation. Then PVC apron, it protects against the splashing of chemicals. Then lead apron are required. Why? Because it protects against the X-rays and gamma rays if in some work condition, generally in the medical field. So it is essential in that case to use the lead apron or lead apron. Then safety belt. Safety belt is required because it protects against the falling of persons from height. So for this, it is necessary to, by using these equipment, we can protect our body. Then what to do to protect our hand? The various equipment are leather gloves. It protects against the cuts due to handling of sharp edges. Then asbestos gloves are also there to protect against heat radiation. Then acid and alkali proof rubber gloves are there which protect against the burns due to handling acid and alkalis. Then electrical resistance gloves which protect against the electric shock. Even the canvas gloves are used in some conditions because it protects against the contact with the oil, grease, dirt and other contaminants. So wherever in the work site it is required, so one has to use these gloves. Then lead gloves are required to protect against the X-rays and gamma rays. Then hand sleeves are used because it protects against the falling of hot slag. During the skin diseases, these sleeves are used. So let us now to protect foot and legs, what to be used? The special safety equipment like leg guards, leather safety boots, asbestos safety boots, gum boots are used. So we use the leg guards because it protects against the welding sparks, injury due to the unintended hit. Then leather safety boots are used because it protects against the striking against object, stroke by moving object, fall of object from above, and stepping on the sharp or hot object. So similarly this asbestos safety boots are used, especially this special equipment is used to protect the foot and legs and to protect against the heat radiation. Stepping on sharp and hot object, it also protects from this. Then striking against the stationary object, stroke by moving object and fall of object from the above. Then one can use the gum boots as per the work requirement, because it protects against the hydraulic testing, tar racking and tar filling in the procedure of in a gas plant, tar filling procedure in gas plant. In that case, special kind of boots are required. These are the gum boots to protect the foot and legs. So with this, let us summarize this session. So we discussed various electrical hazards associated with the equipment, and discussed about the periodic checkups of some main equipment to avoid these electric hazards. And further we described the personal safety and preventive measures. We have discussed about that various work conditions where the safety equipment are required. So you have come across the special personal safety equipment, important consideration in its selection for personal safety according to the nature of the activity and degree of hazard involved at the work site. So with this, I am ending this session, and in the coming sessions we will discuss more about the safety measures. Till then, happy learning. Thank you.